So we finally find out what goes down at the Criers house. And George, you really got a death wish on your ass. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow me on follow all of my information in the description box. Sorry, y'all. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And this is the Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 8, Episode 2, and the name of this episode is Fleeting Moments. I know on the TV guide it says Season 7, but I'm calling it Season 8, so we just gonna run with that, okay? Let the church say amen. So, let me begin. The episode picks up where it left off. Candice and Benny are watching the news, and they're reporting about the Criers, and Benny starts in with his bullshit saying, well, hey, that means you get to keep the money, you know. And then all of a sudden he starts saying like, Candice, you look real cool. Did you actually do this? And she was like, no, I didn't do this. And she says that, you know what? I'm not trying to go down that road with you. I'm trying to do the right thing. He's like, why? You trying to do the right thing because of mommy? I'm like, dude, you just as much of a piece of shit as she was. Like, Benny is trash. Benny got issues. Like, seriously. And then once they see that on the news, Benny says, okay, we got to wake mommy up. So they go upstairs and they wake up Hannah. They tell her that 3 people were shot at the Criers house. She calls Catherine's phone and she gets her voice message. So she decides she's gonna go over there, and that's pretty much what happened there. Then back at David's house, David and Jeffrey are talking to the police. And the police is like, you know, questioning them what happened, you know, who tried to hurt you guys. And then Jeffrey is just singing like a damn canary, my mother. And he says, and then like, David is like, well, I'm a retired judge, so I'm pretty sure I have a lot of enemies over the years. And he was like, yeah, like my mother. And then he tells the damn police officer that, oh yeah, my mother goes to the Celestial Spa every Tuesday, and she lives at 611 Westchester Lane. And David's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what is going on? He's like, look, we gotta nail her. We gotta get her arrested. It seemed that Jeffrey's stupid ass still don't get it. And David told him, like, look, she can outsmart them. You know, the way you have to get your mother is that she's a fox, and you have to find a way to outsmart the fox. And then like Jeffrey was like, well, Dad, how are you so calm about this? He says, you should know by now that if I'm calm, I'm in a dangerous place. And then all of a sudden, the officer comes back and was like, oh my God, it's just a bloody night. And he talks about the Criers and that 3 people were shot. And then Jeffrey was like, oh my God, he did it. I'm like, yeah, he was kind of letting you know that he was spinning, but because you were so wrapped in your own shit, you didn't act on it, that, you know, that Wyatt was on some crazy shit, and he could possibly do something as far as kill his parents. And he was literally telling him, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. All excited and shit with his old simple junkie ass. And finally Jeffrey's like, oh my God, he really did. And he's like, who? He's like, Wyatt. He's like, he called me earlier today about this. And then David was like, we gotta go over there. And the police was like, what are you doing? We're in the middle of investigation. You can't just leave. He says, look, y'all got my number. You can call me. So he ups and leaves. Then we see that Mitch finally comes over the house. Him and Candice meet, and she was like, I'm gonna go get Benny, but then Mitch, you know, again, you know, Mitch is in love with Candice, so he was like, you know, I love you, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. He's like, you know, if you need anything, you know, I got you. You know, I will pull strings to do whatever to make sure that you good. And then they go into this really long, passionate hug, and here come Benny dumbass. Hey man, stop hugging on my sister. I'm like, Benny, you a fucking idiot. He done had your sister more ways than one. You all late, but it just goes to show how dumb Benny is. So in that he still tried to get her to go out with them, but she says no. So they end up leaving. Then we see Derek, and Derek got them guns on him, baby. I was like, check out Derek, swole, got them guns. I was like, yes. I'm just fucking around, but for real though, Derek looked good, and his black wife beater just swole. And then all of a sudden he calls the house phone, and Candice I even thought the same thing, like, who the hell has a house phone? So she answers the house phone, and it's Derek, and Candice talks to him. At first he thinks it's Hannah, but then he pretty much asks, well, he's like, Hannah's not available right now. And he's like, well, who is this? And she says, well, apparently I'm your daughter. And they pretty much start talking back and forth and everything, and he's asking, how much did she tell you about me? And she's like, not much, but then she's like, do you want to fill me in? He was like, I can come over and we can sit down and talk. She was like, oh, she don't want you over here. But he's like, well, we can meet somewhere. She's like, okay, I'll give it some thought. I'll think about it, and I'll decide whether I want to meet you or not. And he's like, oh, it's like, don't say you're sorry. Just know that if I want to talk to you, I'll set it up, and that's all you getting from me at this point. So that was the end of that. I mean, yeah, Derek. I mean, even though back in the day you was on some shit, but you have to understand, regardless whether, back in the day you were on drugs and you was tripping and you did the unthinkable, there are consequences and repercussions for your actions. #choices. So then we go up to the damn condo where, Catherine done set up Broderick's old stupid ass. Rocky actually shows up. They pretty much talk about, they go back and forth, and he was like, how the hell you get here? He was like, oh, Catherine set me up with this. And Rocky was like, she gonna burn you. He's like, I'm gonna get her to put it in my name. I'm like, Broderick, she just literally saved your ass from the feds, and yet you still trying to pull a move. Like, Broderick, you're a fucking idiot. Like, seriously, like, you really think you are like the Latin love and that you can just pull any stunt. Like, conceited as hell. And then, like, Rocky's like, I don't trust this whole situation. And then all of a sudden Broderick's like, were you followed? I'm like, oh, you still scared like shit, but you talking all this trash that you still gonna mess over Catherine, but yet you scared that the feds still gonna look out for you, still looking for you and shit. Then he also asked about RK, and then like Rocky was like, oh, RK's long gone. I'm like, yeah, we saw RK bolt. His ass ain't coming back. That's a done deal. And then he was saying that, look, you ain't got nothing to worry. This is Rocky talking. Look, you ain't got nothing to worry about. They wanted Candice, and they got her. And he was like, what are you talking about? He says, have you seen the news? They know everything about Candice. She's everywhere. But then all of a sudden, Rocky was like, oh man, if I would have known this, I would have pushed up on Catherine myself. I'm like, nah, motherfucker, you said kissing her was like kissing your mother. Broderick like older women, so that's why he came up, and why you're in the situation you're in. You weren't really feeling it. And then all of a sudden, Broderick is real comfortable, like, yeah, look at this. Look how I'm living. Look how I came up. This is everything. You want a drink? And Rocky was like, nah, I think you gonna need the drinks more than I do. And then he tells him that there was a shooting at the Crier house. 3 people were shot. So this little situation you got is fleeting. And that was the end of that. Then at the damn hospital, Justin with his punk ass is still buzzing, the front desk. Keisha goes in. He don't want to talk to Keisha. He want Madison. So Keisha goes back and says that, oh, he wants you, honey. So he goes back, and he was like, what's going on? He tells him, I'm going home. And he was like, you just can't leave, man. You're a prisoner. He says, first of all, I made bail. My attorney just called me, so I'm going home. And he was like, and then like Madison is like, dude, like you got a lot of internal injuries. I don't think that's wise. And he's like, I don't care. I'm like, this motherfucker's on a suicide mission, so let Justin kill himself, do whatever the fuck, and let Justin be gone. Because Justin is really starting to really get on my nerves. And then he asks Madison to give him a hand, to help him get dressed. He puts on the shirt and all of that. And then all of a sudden he turns around and then Justin looks at Madison and is like, so you work out? I'm like, see, here you go. I thought you were so in love with Jeffrey, and now here you are trying to push up on Madison. And then all of a sudden, he's like, so tell me, you work out? And like he was trying to leave, and Justin would not let him leave. I'm like, that's the shit right there that got you fucked up. You being a fucking creep and being all overly aggressive and shit, dumbass. And then and then all of a sudden he starts asking Madison, so you work out, huh? And Madison's like, yeah, and I will bench press your ass across that fucking room if you don't get the hell out of the way. So he eventually lets him. He eventually moves, but then before Madison leaves, he says that, look, you're a good looking guy, but maybe you would get a man and you would be happy if you weren't such a creep. And you need to get some damn therapy. I'm like, you better tell him like it is, Madison. But we already know that, Justine ain't gonna do shit. She gonna continue to be the crazier than cat shit and still do what the hell she does. Then we go to a bar. We get the scene with the two queens, Oliver and Landon. Oh yes, and I forgot the last episode when Oliver was like, bye. I was like, you simple bitch. They were a mess. And then all of a sudden Landon just comes in still talking shit. I hate you. I can't believe this. He says that Oliver's like, I did what you told me to do. He says, I told you to look after him. I didn't tell you to take my job. He's like, first of all, he's pissed, maybe once he calms down, maybe things will change. And he was like, no, I gotta find a way to get back. Here it is. I done lost my job all due to this whore, talking about Candice. And then all of a sudden, Oliver's like, so did you do it? And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, did you give up all the information, to get rid of Candice? He was like, no. But then he was saying that, man, that was one hell of a gig and I was enjoying it. And then all of a sudden Oliver's like, yeah, I'll say, drinking his beer. He's like, oh, you're loving this shit, aren't you? I'm like, hell yeah. And personally, someone in the comments on the last episode that I did mentioned that they think Oliver is in on it with the Attorney General to take down Candice and Landon because he wants to be the Chief of Staff. And Landon let it be known, if he makes you Chief of Staff, I will kill you. So I'm kind of in that mind that, yeah, Oliver probably did do something. So then we go to damn Veronica's house. Veronica gets a call from Celine. Celine says that she will meet up with her, so she tells her to come by tomorrow morning. She goes to fix her a drink and go sit down on her couch. Next thing you know, we see that these goons start swarming in her living room, and they are deep. An old boy that she was at the hospital with, who's played by Andre Fuller, he leading them and shit. And she's like, get the hell out of my house. What the hell are you guys doing here? He was like, I need to talk to you. And she's like, fool, I just talked to you at the hospital. It's like, yeah, but I think I needed to sit down here and talk to you because I don't think you fully heard me. He's like, did you think about what I said? And Veronica is such a bitch because she's talking mad shit like, damn, are all of you musty? I've got you all outright and I can send you back. And then old boy was like, Veronica, do you know how much shit I got on you? And then she said, so did you actually do what you said you was going to do? She's like, yeah, I talked to the funeral home and I got the funeral set up. And he asked the funeral home and she tells him the name of the funeral home. And then he asked, well, what about his kids? And she was like, man, I'll set up a damn college fund for the little bastards. And he was like, yo, don't be saying no shit like that. Those are my those are my nephews. And she was like, yeah, and now they are bastards now. And besides, ain't like they good for nothing ass is gonna go to college anyway, so I just decided to do a college fund just in spite of the fact. Like, she, even though she got all these goons and they could easily take her ass out, she is talking cash shit and is not blinking an eye. And then she was like, oh my God, and all you up in here, you know, stinking up my house, looking like y'all live with roaches and check cashing places and fried chicken. I'm like, you evil whore! She is doing the most. Oh my God. Like, I have such a love and hate relationship for Veronica because her reads are everything. Her reads are so fucking funny that it's ridiculous. This shit that comes out of her mouth. And then all of a sudden, old boy tells Veronica, you lucky I like you. And he pretty much tells all the guys to leave. And then one guy, when he passes her, she stops just like, hey, you're kind of cute. Maybe after you take a bad thing, do something with your hair. I might have some use for you. Yeah, get his number. Get my number from him. Yeah, I can work with that. I was like, bitch, are you serious? Just on some straight pimp hoe type shit. Like, she looking for another fun boy to tear her up. And I was just like, wow. And then after they left, Veronica was like, now my whole house smells like broke asses. I ain't sleeping in this house tonight. I'm going to a hotel. I'm like, bitch, you are doing the most. Then we go back to Oliver and Landon. Landon is still flipping out, mad as shit. And then he's saying that, you know, dude, you need to... And like Oliver was like, dude, you need to calm down. He's like, look, I just need to get laid. He was like, hey. And he was like, definitely not you, bitch. Absolutely not. And he was saying that, well, what other choices you have? He's like, yeah, I'm choosing to tell you to get the fuck out of my face because it ain't going down like that. So then we see that he tries to call Candice. Candice hangs up at first, but then he calls her back and he's saying that, look, I can fix this. And Candice was even saying the same thing, like, how do I know you ain't do this shit? Because everybody knows that Landon is in love with Charles. And he was like, look, I want to help you. And she's like, why? And he was like, he fired me. And he's like, again, I'm a pawn. And he's like, you've always been a pawn. And she's like, you know what? I'm trying to straighten out my life and I'm trying to go into a different direction. I don't care for this shit anymore. And he was like, look, Candice, you were born for politics, you know. And she's like, look, I don't care. So don't call me again and leave me the hell alone. And he was like, well, look, I'm going to prove to you I can spin this story. I got this. Then we see that Landon starts flirting with this college guy. His name is Guy. And Landon's a tramp. Like, Landon is a straight up tramp. He immediately goes over there and was like, so what's your name? He tells him his name is Guy. He's like, oh, so are you that guy? And then he starts asking, are you gay? And the guy says no. He's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, are you curious? He's like, dude, I'm up in here trying to study. I'm like, dude, you at a bar studying? Yeah. Okay. Like, I just think that his ass just didn't want to talk to Landon's old thirsty ass. But then he was saying that, look, I'm trying to study, man. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm being an asshole, but I must say you are very handsome. And then all of a sudden you see that he takes a picture of somebody and dude was like, you trying to take pictures of me and shit? He's like, no. And he goes, and we come to find out it's Scott, you know, Cal's leechman who was digging all the information up on Candice and was doing all the bullshit down at the hotel. And come to find out, he's there with some woman named Melissa. He says it's his cousin, but Landon was like, kissing cousins, huh? So then Scott and Landon have a conversation. So he's like, so that's how this is. So it turns out they're in Detroit because that's where Charles lives. So he's like, so what the hell you doing up in Detroit? Oh, so this is a place where you bring your mistresses so your wife and people in DC won't know that you know, fooling around and shit. So he's kind of pressing him, what's going on? And he's like, you know what? I got a photo. the two of you locking lips. So why the hell are you in Detroit? Is it because of Charles? Are you the Attorney General's spy? What's really good? And he's like, look, what are you trying to get at? Are you trying to blackmail me? He's like, nah. But one thing I'm going to tell you, Scott, is get the hell out of here. And if you ain't gone, this shit going to be in the papers. And he's like, come on. You used to be really nice, Landon. And he's like, I ain't got no patience for nice. Hell yeah, because his ass got fired on account of you and Cal's bullshit trying to take down Candice. And the only reason why he took down Candice is because Candice robbed him with his punk simple ass. So then we go to the Criers' house. Hannah shows up to the police tape. The police let her in. She go on while the police is escorting her into the house. She runs into Wyatt in the car, and Wyatt's saying that I did it. I killed them. Go look. Go look. I'm like, why the fuck is he still sitting there? His ass should be gone. But then again, because of all the press and all that, he's probably stuck there until everything clears up. So we go in, we see that Jim is on a stretcher, and we also see that Hannah finally goes upstairs, and we see that Catherine is pretty much, look like she just got out the tub. So Catherine didn't get shot at all. He shot above her, and she dived into the tub, and she faked her death, until the police arrived. So we're gonna find out Catherine is still alive, and I was like, wow. And she's just in shock and complete disarray because she's like, oh my God, my son just tried to kill me. Like, it was more the fact that he even attempted to kill her, his own mother, has literally hit her to her core. I'm like, yeah, girl, your children, you really did have a pair of kids, you and Jim, and they were offshoots of the both of you, Amanda and Wyatt. And remember, the last episode, Wyatt's old crazy ass admitted that he killed Amanda. And all of a sudden we see that Catherine and Hannah's talking, and Catherine asks what's going on with Jim. When she goes downstairs to check on, to see what's going on, she runs into George and his old messy ass. George says, oh, well, we saw on Jim's desk, there was a memo saying that, with your son's name on it, and that, it had tomorrow's date on it. And then it said 8 million reasons to get this handled. So, forgive me, I'm sweating because it's hot as hell in here, but I want to get this review out, so we're going to keep it moving. And, Hannah's like, I don't know anything about this at all. She goes upstairs to ask Catherine about it. Catherine is still kind of out of sorts. She's like, you asking about your son right now, but my son just tried to fucking kill me. And, Jim ain't gonna do nothing to him and all of that. And, I'm like, Jim was about to do something, bitch. Like, that's $8 million. You think Jim's gonna take that shit lying down? And Benny, being the stupid, arrogant little shit that he is, thinks that he's invincible. That's why, I want something to happen to Benny, because Benny's just a cautionary tale. No matter what the fuck he does, him and fucking Wyatt, they both of the same cloth. Both are just cautionary tales. No matter what they do or what situation they're in, they always bring in some shit. It is what it is. So all of a sudden they talking and everything. Then George comes into the room and starts asking Catherine, "Is everything okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She's like, "Are you hurt?" And she was like, "No." It's like, "You need to see a doctor?" She was like, "No." He's like, "Okay, do it." They arrest Cap's like, "Catherine Crier, you are arrested for the murder of Jennifer Salison." I'm like, bitch, how? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, George, her son just tried to fucking kill her, and you're gonna take this as an opportunity to arrest her for Jennifer's death? Jennifer been dead some seasons, okay? She been, her heels have been pointing to the sky for quite some time. And George, the rate you going, your dumb ass gonna be next. Because you are just as ambitious as Jennifer was, and it was her ambition that got her killed, and it's gonna be your damn ambition that fucks you up too. So that's why I was like, George, you an asshole for that. Like, you got Wyatt in the car, and Wyatt pretty much said that I killed them and all this shit. And Wyatt was supposed to be your damn star witness, and yet you still trying to pursue your fucking case because, just like Jennifer, he wants to be attorney general. So this is all a personal vendetta for him. Weak ass. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. And I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this episode, because I'm like, really, Tyler? You mean to tell me all this time? I was under the impression that Catherine was dead too, but then the fact that how the way he played that out, I was like, Tyler, only you in Tyler Perry world. Oh, I swear, but I live for it though. So until next time, everybody, take care.